Hello, people. Another beautiful day. Yeah. Hope your five senses work. Health and strength is good. Yep. Life. Live it. And to you Steam Deck fans, Steam Deck goons, Steam Deck mob and squad, what's up with it? Alright. We're talking about the Steam Deck here again. What's for breakfast here? What's for breakfast? What do we got? Alright. Listen to this. It says here, Valve found this article on PC Gamers. And I was reading up on it. It says here, Valve's tweaking Linux drivers to squeeze out more battery life out of the Steam Deck on Steam OS 3.0. It says Valkyrie Rad-V driver changes could extend the Steam Deck battery life if they okay before the Mesa 22.0 freeze. Alright, let's go. Says here, Valve engineers have been beavering away to try and improve the Steam Deck battery life ahead of its impending launch on February 25th. In order to achieve this, its Linux dev have been making changes to the open source Radeon Vulkan Rad-V driver, which Steam Deck uses to control variable rates shadings. Currently under review, the driver changes could help the Steam Deck battery last longer than first anticipated, and even give the much anticipated handheld gaming device a handy performance boost in supported games. I've heard of improving battery life, but improving battery life to improve performance? Hey, welcome to technology, folks. Anyway, it says here, variable rate shading VRS is a wonderful thing when implemented properly. It gives developers intricate control over how intensely the shading is implemented for each portion of the screen or frame region. That means it doesn't need to put so many GPU resource into rendering parts of the scene that don't change or that users isn't really paying attention to, meaning gamers. Anyway, says here, it's easy to break down when you look at something like a racing game. Game dev will have it so the car and the roads ahead use a higher shading rate than of the road behind, or anything at the edge of the screen. Basically, for anything you're not going to be staring intently at, the dev will try to save processing power by making it less of a priority for graphics card precious resources. Yeah, Steam Deck, people. Anyway, says here, the upshot of this is that you could get higher frame rates because the GPU isn't being so hammered by a particular game, or if the frame rate are locked, you could get lower power use, or therefore longer battery life in a handheld like the Steam Deck. It's a Phoronix highlight the word and work of Steam Deck Samuel Pitioset, who talks a little of changes being made to the Rad-V Vulkan driver. Preciously, the VRS rates were hard-coded in vertex shaders, he explains. It's now possible to force per vertex VRS dynamically. Said this force behavior gives developer great more accurate control over exactly how much of the screen is shaded at the desired rate. Subsequently, the Steam Deck could easily see a boost in performance or like battery life when the system is unplugged. The whole purpose of the changes, Pitioset point out, was to improve the battery life of the handheld device. It says, many have aired concern that the playing time might be on the short side, especially after Valve developer Pierre-Luc Graffie told IGN it could last about 2 to 8 hours, depending on what you're doing. You can play Portal 2 for 4 hours, on this thing, if you limit it to 30 frames per second, FPS, you're going to be playing for 5 to 6 hours. Then he says here, the Tuesday patch rolled out dynamic VRS rate control, as well as adding a configuration file option for devs, in which the VRS can be rewritten to control the shading rate on demand, perhaps depending on whether it's plugged in or not. Right now, the changes are under review, with the deadline being the Mesa 22.0 code branching and feature freeze that already been delayed once. The implication is that with these changes, you'll likely see better battery life on the Steam OS 3.0. OS meaning operating system. It says here, the Steam Deck ships with, compared to brave folks who decide to drop Windows onto their new handheld gaming PC instead. And it says, hopefully changes can be financialized by then, so all of this can come to fruition before the imminent Steam Deck release date of February 25th. Written by Katie Wickets. So, Valve is improving, the engineers at Valve, they're improving the Steam Deck battery life. And this is before the release date of the Steam Deck. Right now, today is January the 28th, so they got plenty of time to work some more magic with the Steam Deck. But on the other side, this was good news to hear, you know, and you know, improving the battery life to get a better performance, you know, when using the Steam Deck. And you know, these developers are not, you know, they're not playing around here. You know, they're making sure that the Steam Deck deliver based on the specs the Steam Deck is pushing. So right now, Valve is just moving right along, you know. And you know, the pandemic was a test. Like I said, it was a test for them to see if they was going to follow through on this or not. And you know, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sega, all the companies that have ever released a console or a handheld has never faced a test like this. You know, so especially when our shortages in parts and shipping comes into play, they have never faced a test like this. But Valve did. So Valve is like, pandemic or not, we got to get this thing out on the market. And so far so good. So yeah, Steam Deck is moving right along. But this was good news to hear, you know, as far as the Steam Deck is concerned. Improving the infrastructure of the Steam Deck. Anyway, I'm going to leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and Star Trek thing? Or Dark Side. Go on. Peace.